right, here we are, day 4 of the Genesis method. We're on the 4th day of the month, the 4th day of the creation story. We're basing today based off of Genesis chapter 1, verses 14 through 19. Now, so far, we've talked about our core motivators. We've established vision in 5 key areas of our life: our personal life, our home life, our work life, our area of creativity in our life, and our relational life. We've established those. We've talked about our rhythm and our cadence equaling our personal harmony, how we move through life. Yesterday, we talked about the wells of reserve, the wells of strength we have, and then we talked about our MPGs, how we're going to maximize personal growth. You've been writing all this down, tracking all of this. What you're starting to really develop is a comprehensive view of what you want your 2020 to look like and what you want to produce in your life. Today, we're going to follow the 4th day of creation, which is where God establishes the sun in the sky and the moon in the sky. He actually talks about how he makes distinguishing units of light, I guess you could say, and one will govern, the greater light will govern the day, the lesser light will govern the night. And he uses those words govern or watch over the day and watch over the night. Now, he says something really specific in these scriptures, and there it's actually our key words for today. He says that these 2 things will be for signs and for seasons to help earth and to help the order and the structure of creation move forward. And if you think about that, signs and seasons, and you really think about the concept of the sun and the moon and what they serve for us in our daily purposes, you remember that all throughout scripture, then God references back to the moon as having different signs to speak to the people. Remember, he talks about the blood moon, talks about the harvest moon, all sorts of things that are referenced in scripture that really focus on being a sign for creation, a sign for people. If you look at the sun and how the sun affects the earth and how it affects the harvest and the vegetation, we know that the sun really is there to give us understanding in the seasons of the year, of the harvest cycle, and also of our own life. And so today we're going to dive into what is representative in our life of the sun or seasons and of the moon or signs. And what I want to really talk about today is having you understand that what God really established with the sun and the moon is he established consistency in what was governing from the heavens to allow humanity and to allow the earth itself to start to measure in a certain incremental time of consistency for itself. And so the sun, the rising of the sun, the setting of the sun, the rising of the moon, the setting of the moon is consistent. It's now how we measure our day by dusk till dawn. It gives us a consistent barometer, a consistent measurement to allow us to measure our life and to map out how our day is going to go. And so when we're talking about what signs and seasons operate as and comparing this to the sun and the moon, what we're really talking about is this word consistency. And so the first thing I want you to think about is consistency of self, which would equal the sun, or consistency of seasons of your life. What are the areas of your life that you want to be consistent in, that you want to be known as a consistent person? Consistency has, for me, often been a very personally big goal that I focused on throughout my whole life, is being consistent. But for you, what are the areas that you're going to be consistent in as far as self is concerned? What are the things that are going to be true of you no matter what? Are you always going to be a generous person? Are you always going to be a forgiving person? Are you always going to be a person who shows up on time a certain way? What is the consistency of self that you are going to be? The consistency of self often allows us to navigate the seasons of life no matter what. It doesn't matter what the season is, I show up the same no matter what. Same with the sun. It doesn't matter if it's winter, the sun is still there. It doesn't matter if it's summer, the sun is still there. Spring, raining in the fall, the sun is consistency of self. Now the second part is consistency of growth. And that's where the moon is really represented in our personal journey. Because the moon, although it is consistent, the moon really offers signs for us of the progression of life, the progression of earth, the progression of time. And so this first thing you're going to focus in on is consistency of self. The second thing is going to be consistency of growth. What are areas in your life that no matter the season, no matter the time, no matter the events of life, you're always going to be particularly growing in this area? I would encourage you to figure these two out by thinking through your past. What are things that no matter what, you've always grown in this area? What are areas that no matter what, you've always shown up as this person? When you start to identify these areas, you're going to start to realize, this is who I am. This is the consistency of who I am. And I need to remember this no matter what. Maybe as you're looking back, you'll say, I don't really know where I've been super consistent, but this is a great time to start to identify that and isolate that. So to end out day 4, you're going to identify 3 areas, 3 ways that you are consistent in yourself, and 3 ways that you are consistent in personal growth. 3 ways of each. What is 3 ways that you're consistent in self? It's your seasons. It comes, it goes, but you are consistent. What are 3 ways that you're consistent in growth? It's the signs. You know that starting X number of years ago, you've been growing this way and you're going to continue to grow that way, or maybe you've never grown this way, but now this is going to become a lifelong journey of growth. You're consistently going to be operating in both. When you do that, you will have completed day 4 of the Genesis Method.